If you logged onto the Steam store today, you probably saw party animals pasted right there on the homepage. And if you're like me, you would have been curious enough to click on it. And it looks like a fun enough game. Cute animals beating the crap out of each other, gang beast style. And I'm sure there's a lot of fun that could be had here. But there are some things that you probably should know before buying the game. So let's get the big one that people are pretty pissed about out of the way first. And that's the fact that there is no offline party multiplayer in this game. Now there is local split screen, or at least a way to play with people locally on the same system, but now you can either play with them online in matchmaking, or you can create a private custom game, but you're still connecting to an online server to play locally. Now there are a couple of issues with this. First off, on the Steam store it was advertised in the description of the game that you would be able to play this game offline. And this was on the store description for ages, and up until about 5 hours after the game actually came out, they changed it. And that's probably because they were getting review bombed. And you can see here on the SteamDB history of when they changed it and what they changed it to. Now the devs made a statement on what happened here. Now whether you believe them or not on if this was a mistake, it doesn't really matter because it is false advertising, intentional or not. That got me thinking. So I did some research on some other games that I know have an offline party mode or offline co-op to see if the categories on their store pages mentioned anything like that, and they don't. They all mention it in the description of the game, except for Moving Out, which has a warning before the description that it is single player and offline co-op only. And if I were the devs of Party Animals, I would definitely get that on there ASAP. That also raises an issue that I think Steam needs more descriptive categories on the side so people know what kind of game that they're expecting, but this is still squarely on the devs for the most part. The other big problem with the game being online only is the fact that the game only has 5 server regions. And if you're not in these 5 server regions, well, have fun with your subpar experience because this game is not going to be for you. Living in Australia, it sucks when I have to do deep dives on multiplayer games just to see if I can actually play the game or convince friends to play it. And I understand we're a smaller server region, blah blah blah, but you know, offline mode or peer-to-peer might be nice. Things that aren't impossible to do in a game like this and would expand your audience exponentially. I did have a couple of games just to test if the latency was a problem, and it is. It's really impossible to tell where the clunkiness of the game ends and the latency begins in this one. So if you pre-ordered the game based on the fact that you were going to be able to play this game in offline mode, or if you were going to be able to play it regardless, based outside of these regions, then I would expect you'd be entitled to a refund. And you probably should. It's weird to think that this game is online only, despite the fact that it seems like it is catered to just like a fun party game audience. And the reason I feel like it might be online only and 90% sure of why it is online only is the fact that the game is a live service and it expects to make money off microtransactions. And yes, this is a game that you have to spend 30 Australian dollars on, and the store has microtransactions inside of it. Now, I'm not a fan of how games, and especially live service games, do this. Your opinion can differ from mine, and that's fine. But what I find exceptionally scummy is the fact that this game is clearly aimed at a family audience and has loot box gacha mechanics in it. Now, if you're a parent or you're just somehow unaware of loot boxes and gacha mechanics, you pay real money to open a box with the probability of getting a rare item out of it. The probabilities are listed on the store, but the mechanics of how these kind of storefronts work are very eerily similar to how gambling works. This is a warning for parents. If you want to let your kids play this game, because it's certainly marketed towards children, make sure they do not engage with this stuff, or at the very least, make sure your credit card isn't linked to your account, because I imagine there's going to be a couple of parents that get a couple of $100 or more charges on their credit cards off this one. Other than that, the game also does feature a regular storefront and obviously has 2 currencies in it. One which is paid only and one which is, you know, earnable by the looks of it, which they always are. The last warning I can give about this game is the same warning I give to all live service games, and that is the fact that it's a live service. The developers stated that they do not plan to introduce an offline mode, so if the game ever drops players or becomes unprofitable, there is always a chance they can just let it die. Now, I will say before I go that this game does look like a lot of fun, and if neither of these things I just talked about apply to you or you just don't care, then I think there is a fun game here. Anywho, thanks for watching this small little video. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe if you're new, or just do any of the algorithm things. Anywho, I'll be back with some actual, real reviews soon, and I'll catch you on the next one.